Hello everyone and welcome back to STW Sports, and today I'm going to be reviewing the EFL weekend from February 19th until February the 21st. Starting as usual with the Championship, Friday the 19th of February, Watford 2, Derby County 1. Yeah, good result this one for Watford. Derby have been in good form recently and Wayne Rooney's done a pretty decent job so far, but on this occasion they fell a little bit short. I mean, to be fair to Watford, they scored two quick-fire goals in the first half and Derby never really recovered. It was an own goal in the second half that let them back into the game, but in the end Watford had a little bit too much, and they're doing well right now, Watford. They could get automatic promotion, but I do think they're going to have to settle for playoffs, and if they win that, well, it's anyone's from there when it comes to the playoffs. But Watford, they're doing okay, and their home form's been brilliant this season. Then we moved on to Saturday the 20th of February, Coventry City 2, Brentford 0. I mean, yeah, Brentford's, I don't really want to say annual season of when they start to fade out, but Brentford aren't doing too great right now. They've now lost 3 games in a row. It's not looking good. I mean, a 2-0 defeat to a Coventry team who are battling relegation. Great win for Coventry, don't get me wrong. This was a fantastic win for them, and they played very well and they deserved it as well. But I mean, Brentford, yeah, it wasn't great for them. They didn't do well at all in this game. They looked pretty poor, and I think that their confidence is a little bit shaken right now. But look, they've still got time to pull it back. But yeah, not the best time to be going through a patch like this right now. Norwich City 1, Rotherham United 0. Yeah, not the best performance from Norwich this, but hey, they got the win, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, Norwich are looking good at the moment. To be fair, results went for Norwich all weekend as well. I'll explain a little bit more about that in a minute. But Norwich, every team around them didn't really do too good, so this is a very welcome 3 points. Rotherham are doing okay right now. They're making a good fight of it, but 1-0, I mean, it's away from home. It's always going to be a tough game against the league leaders. And yeah, Norwich got there in the end. Timu Puki's early goal in the 17th minute was enough, and yeah, they got there in the end. Huddersfield Town 4, Swansea City 1. Well, this was a turn up for the books, wasn't it? I mean, who on earth expected this? Huddersfield versus Swansea. Swansea have let in 15 goals all season before this game. Huddersfield went and scored 4 past them. Huddersfield have now scored 6 of the goals past them all season. They've done the league double over them. I don't know where this result come from. I can't really explain. It's one of them random results you get in a season where, you know, one team just completely turns up. Huddersfield have been in a rotten run of form as well, considering all things considered. Yeah, they go and win 4-1 against one of the best teams in the league. Crazy. That's a championship for you. 4-1. What a result for Huddersfield. Cardiff City 4, Preston North End 0. I mean, if there's a manager who's had an effect on a club, it's Mick McCarthy. I don't know what he's done to Cardiff, but my word, they have picked up. I mean, if Mick McCarthy gets Cardiff promoted this season, it's got to go down as one of the best recent championship moments, I guess, because Cardiff looked pretty dead and buried when Neil Harris got sacked, and it looked like they'd have to settle for a season of mid-table mediocrity, but right now they're on a roll under Mick McCarthy, and they're doing really well, and they completely destroyed Preston in this one, 4-0, and as for Preston, again, I mention it so much, but they're so inconsistent, Preston. I mean, this is another example of it here. Beating Blackburn last week away at Ewood Park, and then they go and lose this one convincingly. Kind of sums them up. Stoke City 3, Luton Town 0. Yeah, it was a happy return for Nathan Jones to Stoke. A pretty easy win for Stoke, to be honest with you. 3-0. It was quite convincing. And Luton are a good team. They've done well this season. I'm a big fan of what Nathan Jones has done there, but it wasn't great on this occasion. And a fairly comfortable Stoke win. They've been on pretty bad form, so the wins are starting to come back for them now. They definitely need it. Sheffield Wednesday 0, Birmingham City 1. Yeah, I feel like this game's going to buy Aitor Karanka a little bit of time. I was thinking if they lose this one, Aitor Karanka's going to go. But no, they got a 1-0 win. Scott Hogan scored. But to be fair, though, Sheffield Wednesday did have 10 men for a little bit of the game as well. But it wasn't the best game. It was 2 teams who were down in the relegation battle. But yeah, Birmingham, relegation zone, in fact, I think they were both in before the game. But yeah, Birmingham got a very important win. I'm still not convinced Karanka's going to be there much longer, but this win certainly buys him a little bit more time. It felt like a 6-pointer for Birmingham, and come the end of the season, they could look back on this one as the key moment if they do stay up. Reading 0, Middlesbrough 2. I mean, yeah, Reading do have results like this in them. This might let them down in the playoff run right now, Reading. Good team, I do like Reading, and they've had a very good season under the manager, but I mean, don't get me wrong, losing at home to Middlesbrough, there's no shame in that. Middlesbrough are a good team. They've got Neil Warnock, who's a great championship manager, but a 2-0 defeat at home, it's not great, and I feel like if Reading go on a bad run, they could very easily fall out of the playoffs. And once you fall out of the playoffs, it's so hard to get back into them as well. But yeah, fair play to Borough though. It was a good result for them, and they played really well. QPR 2, AFC Bournemouth 1. I mean, I go on about the Mick McCarthy effect. What about the Charlie Austin effect at QPR? They looked really poor this season, really, before he came back. And Charlie Austin's loved at QPR, understandably so. He's done a lot for the club. He scored a lot of goals in the Premier League for them, never mind the Championship. So I can see why he is, and he's come back. Not just him, don't get me wrong. Players around him have picked up their performances as well. But brilliant stuff, and fair play to QPR. They're a real big turnaround. But as for Bournemouth, they're a couple of defeats away, Bournemouth, from falling out of the playoffs. And again, once you fall out, it's so hard to get back in. But yes, now we move on to Bristol City 0, Barnsley 1. I mean, Barnsley just love a victory right now, don't they? I've said it so much. Barnsley are the story of the season in the Championship, maybe perhaps behind Reading. But what the new manager, Valérien Ismaël's done since coming in October is incredible. I mean, most people thought Barnsley were guaranteed to go down at the start of the season. Even Barnsley fans will tell you they were lucky at the start of the season, last season, to stay up. But this season, it's going very well. A 1-0 win away. Okay, it was a managerless Bristol City at the time, don't get me wrong. Bristol City have now been taken over by Nigel Pearson, I believe, as well. I believe it's Nigel Pearson anyway. Yeah, so that's good reason, I guess, for Barnsley. A good 1-0 win away. It wasn't under Pearson, it was a caretaker manager still. A game I actually expected Barnsley to win, but yeah, they got there anyway. And as for Bristol City, yeah, they're in a bit of trouble right now, but they won't go any further down the mid-table, I don't think. Millwall 0, Wycombe Wanderers 0. Yeah, Millwall love drawing games. I mention this all the time, and they've now, I'm pretty sure they've drawn like half of their games this season. And another example here, just as they're starting to pick up a little bit of form, they draw 0-0 with the bottom club in the division. To be fair to Wycombe, this team's got so much fight in them. I really do like Wycombe for the fight they've got. It's not always worked out for them this season. They've had some pretty humiliating results, but you know, what they lack in quality, they certainly make up for in heart, and it'd be great if they pulled off a great escape, but no, 0-0 draw. It was a fair result and not a great game either. Nottingham Forest 1, Blackburn Rovers 0. Yeah, see, the thing is, I'd love to see Blackburn get in the playoffs. I like Blackburn, they're a good historic club. They've won the Premier League in the past, and, you know, they've gone through quite a bit in the last few years with the owners, but every time they seem to get close, a result happens like this and it knocks them back. But look, fair play to Forest and Chris Hughton. I always thought once it clicked for him, he's going to be okay. I mean, he's a very good Championship manager, Chris Hughton, and you know, once things have clicked, he's got used to the team. Things have been okay, and fair play to him. Game of the weekend, I've gone Huddersfield Town 4, Swansea City 1, just because of the pure bizarreness of it and the fact Huddersfield, it was a very good game as well for Huddersfield, and yeah, it was a good game overall. Result of the weekend, I've gone Coventry City 2, Brentford 0. I could have gone Huddersfield Swansea, but I'm going to go for Coventry Brentford because I feel like Coventry, the position they're in the table, I mean, Huddersfield are in a bad position as well, but Coventry, for me, needed this win, and they got it, and they were very, very good. So that's why I'm going to say they're probably they deserve the result of the week. And the top scorer is Ivan Toney with 24 goals. Even though he didn't score this weekend, Ivan Toney still scores goals for fun. What a striker. Moving on to League One, and all the games were played on Saturday the 20th of February. Gillingham 2, Bristol Rovers 0. Yeah, if you're watching Lewis, I predicted this one, don't forget, I called it. But yeah, 2-0, and John Akinde's double saw it off. Again, Bristol Rovers. Joey Barton's just taken over there, actually. Very interesting one, that. Joey Barton did a steady job at Fleetwood, so, maybe Bristol Rovers, he could get them into a good position. But yeah, 2-0 win for Gillingham, played well, and it was a convincing, pretty easy win for them. Accrington Stanley 1, Shrewsbury Town 1. Yeah, if there's a team disappointed with this, it's definitely Accrington Stanley. I mean, they snatched a late point out of this one, Shrewsbury as well, and this really dents Accrington's playoff hopes, but Accrington are still in with a chance, don't get me wrong, but results like this are going to make it hard. Home games against teams like Shrewsbury, you've got to be trying to take the points, but then again, Shrewsbury have done well away at the good teams this season, so it kind of goes both ways. MK Dons 4, Northampton Town 3. I mean, this one was a thriller, an absolute thriller. To be fair to MK Dons, they've done well recently. They've really recovered from what was a poor start to the season. But, I mean, yeah, 4-3 against Northampton. Don't get me wrong, Northampton are a struggling team, and I thought Dons would win this game a lot easier than they did. But hell, it was a cracking game of football and fair play, a 4-3 win, and well done at fair play MK Dons, good result for them. As for Northampton, one they could have done without. Burton Albion 0, Sunderland 3. Yeah, Sunderland needed this one. Sunderland have had a bad habit this season of dropping points against teams down there. And I thought Burton Albion, as much as they've looked dead and buried most of the season, they're starting to make a bit more of a fight of it now, and they're doing okay. But yeah, on this occasion, Sunderland ran out, easy 3-0 winners. And yeah, it was a comfortable win, really. I mean, fair play to them. They did really well, Sunderland, and maybe playoffs is what Sunderland will get this season. Rochdale 0, Plymouth Argyle 0. I mean, Rochdale were the entertainers a couple of weeks ago, but now they've kind of got not the entertainers. They've not been very entertaining at all in the last few weeks. 0-0 draw, and it wasn't really much to shout about, to be honest. It was a pretty dull 0-0, but for Rochdale, it's a point further away from relegation, so it's not the end of the world. Doncaster Rovers 3, Hull City 3. Wow, what a game this was. Drama all over the place. Not only of that, 102nd minute equaliser from Doncaster. Over 100 minutes of football, and Doncaster grabbed a 3-3 draw. Very good. I mean, fair play to Doncaster for hanging in there and getting a draw out of this one. It really felt like, this game was going to prove if Doncaster belonged up there, really. But, I mean, they're having a good season. Yeah, they didn't win the game. They only drew, don't get me wrong, at home as well. But this feels like a better point for Doncaster than it does for Hull for some reason. But, yeah, 3-3 draw. What a game. Portsmouth 0, Blackpool 1. Yeah, Portsmouth do tend on getting results like this. Don't get me wrong, Blackpool aren't a bad team, and they could make a late push for the playoffs, Blackpool. I think they are that sort of team if they put a run together. You never know. But yeah, a 1-0 win, and fair play to Blackpool. It's a good result for them, and they played really well. Wigan Athletic 1, Lincoln City 2. Yeah, Lincoln City respond, and 2-1 win against the Wigan, who are near enough. No, they're not bottom, but they're down there near the bottom. Wigan could be playing League 2 football. I'm really thinking the prospects of Bolton versus Wigan in League 2 next season, when both clubs were Premier League clubs a decade earlier, is quite surprising. But yeah, 2-1 win here for Lincoln. Not really a surprise, this one, with how Lincoln have been this season compared to Wigan. But yeah, on the day, though, they remain top of the table. It's a very hard-fought win against a Wigan team who did quite well in this game. Swindon Town 2, Crewe Alexandra 1. What a result for Swindon this is. Last-minute goal as well to win it. There's a lot of drama in League 1 this week, which is you'd love to see this time of year. Season's kind of getting, not towards its end, but it's kind of getting there to the point where teams know they need results, so it's going to be too late. This was an example of that. Crewe took the lead in this one, and were quite comfortable, really, throughout, but Swindon came back and won 2-1. I mean, the game had a lot of chances for both teams, and it was Scott Twine's last-minute goal. This could prove massive at the end of the season for Swindon, and Crewe, after a very good start, are just slowly fading away now in League 1. Right, yep, and next up we had Ipswich Town 0, Oxford United 0. I don't know how much longer Paul Lambert's going to last in a job. Ipswich should not be mid-table in League 1. I'm not disrespecting the other League 1 clubs, but Ipswich Town, they were in the Championship for so long. They just look a bit out of place in mid-table in League 1. Yeah, last season, if the season had finished, you never know. They might have got the playoffs eventually, but they just can't put a run together right now. As for Oxford, they've done really well since the new year, but a 0-0 draw was probably a fair result in quite a disinteresting game. Peterborough United 3, AFC Wimbledon 0. Not really a surprise, this one. It was a comfortable 3-0 win for Peterborough. Their home form's been fantastic all season. Yeah, 3-0, fair result. Very good result for Peterborough. And as for Wimbledon, they're still struggling down there. Fleetwood Town 1, Charlton Athletic 1. Yeah, I mean, Charlton again, another team who just started fading away at the moment. They're not doing great. A 1-1 draw here. It was okay. I mean, it wasn't anything special, and both teams had to settle for it in the end. Game of the weekend, I've gone Doncaster 3, Hull 3. 102nd minute equaliser, and the game had so much drama. It was brilliant. Yeah, I'm going with that one. Result of the weekend, I've gone Swindon 2, Crewe 1. The importance of this result for Swindon, come the end of the season, if they stay up, this could be the moment that turned it for them. And finally, we have top scorers, who are Charlie Wyke and Johnson Clark-Harris, both on 18. Charlie Wyke has came out of nowhere in League 1 and just completely tearing the division up. Fair play to him, he's doing very well. And we move on now to League 2, where again, we had a pretty much a full weekend. Yeah, we had a good weekend. And we started on Saturday the 20th of February with Tranmere Rovers 2, Oldham Athletic 2. I do say a lot, Oldham do quite well away at the better teams, and this was another example of that here. A 2-2 draw, and it was a 10-man Oldham considering as well, so a good result. Harry Kewell certainly won't complain in my opinion. 2-2, and yeah, fair play to Oldham. As for Tranmere, not the best result for them. I think both teams probably won't be too bothered with a draw, but yeah, that's what it ended. Scunthorpe United 3, Harrogate Town 1. Scunthorpe have done okay recently. They had a pretty shaky start to the season, the Irons, but they've recovered well. Look, Harrogate, you know, they're still, for what everyone expected from them, Harrogate, they're still doing well this season, but a 3-1 defeat here, it was fairly comfortable for Scunthorpe, and they deserved it. Crawley Town 1, Colchester United 0. What has happened to Colchester's form? They are on a horrible streak right now. I mean, they haven't won in about 12 or 13 games. They're dropped from about 8th to about 20th. It's crazy, to be honest, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's been a managerial change by the time I put out this video. But yeah, 1-0 Crawley, good result for them. But yeah, I mean, it was a stoppage time winner as well for them, so, you know, it's one of them that would have felt even better with that, but wasn't the best game, but yeah, fair play. Salford City 1, Carlisle United 1. Big game this one, it really felt like a big game. Carlisle have barely played for a while due to COVID or the weather or whatever. So yeah, a 1-1 draw was probably fair, I guess. I mean, it wasn't the best game, but yeah, 1-1, I think both teams, in the circumstances, will probably take it. Mansfield Town 0, Cambridge United 3. I was actually in Mansfield when this game went on, doing another game. So, yeah, fair play to Cambridge, a good result. And Paul Mullin, back amongst the goals, that man. It felt like he was on 18 for a while, but back amongst the goals right now. Fair play to him. Stevenage 1, Walsall 1. Yeah, I guess this result doesn't really do a lot for both teams, but it was 10-man Walsall, so they'll probably be happier with a draw, but the more wins Stevenage can get, the more they're going to pull away from relegation, so either way's better for them. Cheltenhamtown 0, Bradford City 2. I mean, Bradford City's revival has been something else, really, and hearing the news today that Mark Trueman and Connor Sellers are now permanent managers, brilliant to see, absolutely brilliant story, and fair play to them, 2-0 win away at one of the best teams in the league. Bradford have come a long way. A couple of months ago, we were thinking this could be a tough season for them, but they've come a long way. Fair play to them. Southend United 0, Bolton Wanderers 1. I love seeing Bolton doing well. This was a terrible game of football, don't get me wrong, and no one deserved to win. It should have been 0-0, but Bolton, seeing them in League 2 is quite sad. I forgot about it could be Bolton Wigan in League 2. The way Bolton are going, they could bulldoze their way to a promotion right now. Very encouraging to see. A 1-0 win for the Trotters. It was a terrible game, but they will not care. But this is a damaging defeat for Southend. Barrow 1, Morecambe 2. Yeah, Morecambe respond from their midweek defeat to Bradford City, and it was a good win away at Barrow. I mean, Barrow obviously are not really having the best time of it right now. They've been dragged right into a relegation battle. Morecambe, who I thought would go down at the start of the season, as I always say, did well though, and they got a 2-1 win here. Leyton Orient 1, Port Vale 1. I mean, yeah, this was a fair result, I guess, this game. There wasn't really a lot to say about it. It was just a fair, standard 1-1 draw. And then we moved on to Sunday the 21st of February, where there was one game, Newport County 0, Forest Green Rovers 2. I mean, the game was played on a pretty bad pitch, with all due respect to Newport. The pitch wasn't great, but hey, Forest Green won't care about that. They won 2-0. Massive win for Forest Green. Newport really have faded out in the last couple of months, though. They've really not been at their best. Forest Green, though, exceptional, and they continue going. And right now, I'm expecting them to be a League One club next season. And game of the weekend, I've gone Tranmere 2, Oldham 2. Very good game, and 10 men got a point, so quite an entertaining one there. Result of the weekend, Cheltenhamtown 0, Bradford City 2. Yeah, Bradford, their form right now, it's not really a surprise due to their form, but, you know, to be fair to Bradford, they lost to Exeter a couple of weeks ago, and they haven't let their heads drop. It's been very encouraging. 2-0 win, brilliant. I mean, it's the way they've gone away to a team like Cheltenham and the way they've played and got the result. Yeah, Bradford could make a late push of playoffs, but it might be too early to say that. And the top scorer is Paul Mullin with 22 goals at the time of recording, so what a season he is having for Cambridge. He could be the man to fire up to the title. But yes, that is a wrap on your EFL reviews from February 19th until February the 21st. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Please like, share and subscribe, and I'll be back soon with more content. Thank you very much.